Hey, welcome back to my series on learning Maya for beginners. Today we're going to continue this Maya Basics modeling tutorial for this helmet. You can find this on Autodesk's website under their, let's see if I can remember what it's called here. Yeah, we've got Getting Started in Maya. So it covers all this information. I'm just going to do this in video form because I think this is a great tutorial. So the first thing that I'm going to do is start out sort of with box modeling. So box modeling is the process where you start essentially with this cube. I'm going to scale this up, kind of cover this whole thing. Now I have to make a change on my smooth mesh or my computer tends to crash. You shouldn't have to do that. But if I have this selected in object mode, what's great about box modeling is if I'm in one mode, pressing 1 on my keyboard, I get this geometric version. And if I press 3 mode, you'll see that this smooths out so that I get kind of a smooth preview of the smoothed mesh. And this already is getting closer to the shape that I want to achieve. To really get more of kind of an oblong shape out of here, I'm going to add an extra edge loop so it doesn't collapse in on itself as extremely. So with this polycube in the inputs of my channel box, I'm going to change the height subdivision to 2. And you'll see this just adds one extra edge loop. So now on this object, if I were to go to 3 mode, you'll see that doesn't collapse into that full sphere. Now, in this case, I want the geometry that I can actually work with. So I'm going to go up to Mesh and use the actual smooth option, which will give me new geometry as it smooths down. Now, the level of smoothing it does is based on this divisions. So I want to switch this over, in this case, just to 2. And you'll see this gives me a decent amount of geometry to work with, and it fits my helmet a little bit closer. In my top view, I'm going to start getting rid of some faces. So getting rid of half these faces over here. And in the front view, I'm going to get rid of, as my side view, these and then these. So this is kind of what I'm left with. At this point, we're entering that phase of edge-based modeling where I did, in this case, of course, start out with a cube, but now it's more focused on working these edges to eventually form the entire helmet. So what I want to do now is start shaping this out to fit the helmet. So I'm going to grab a couple vertices on the edges and just move them over. And I'm using my marquee select to make sure that I get anything that might be behind. Sometimes you've got vertices sort of just hiding behind other vertices. In some cases, I might grab all 3, move them around a bit, and just kind of getting the general shape. Now, one thing I'm going to have to do in the front of the helmet, and I'll fix these in a second, I have to really bring these back to make sure I've got room to get all these to line up, and I'll even rotate a little bit here and there. Because I want to make sure I have room that this can all line up with this edge of my reference. And now the best thing you can do here is just take a second to kind of clean things up. You'll see that some of my geometry really is not looking great. So kind of want to just pull things around until I get a bit of a better result. And I don't want to spend too much time on this for the sake of this tutorial. And I'm going to grab these edges down here. Start pushing these all down, just match this as close as I can. You'll see I tend to work in vertex mode a lot. You could, of course, select edges to pull a lot of this off. The original tutorial from Maya has you selecting border edges to kind of get you familiar with what those are, but I've just always been a vertex guy. And it's always smart to keep an eye out for any geometry that's just really odd. So in this case, I probably have some strange stuff going on here. This one might be kind of dipping in a little bit. So it's good to hop between all your different views and make sure you're getting nice clean geometry. Sometimes I look at the entire edges as a whole. This edge, for example, is kind of giving me a weird result, and in this case I think I'm just going to scale this into itself. This is probably going to throw off a little bit of my shape, but I think that's going to be cleaner to work with. I might do the same with this one, and this for sure is going to throw things off, but I can go correct things in a second. And this one, just kind of trying to give myself some geometry that's going to be a little bit easier to work with. Okay. So this is the first stage of our edge modeling, so that we've lined things up a little bit with our main helmet, and we're going to continue next time getting this front piece built up and then eventually connected to the side piece. So get this far, get something saved so you have progress, and we will continue next time.